Greetings, students of EGT 1020, the online version of Revit. I am your host. I am John Montoya, and I will be walking you through this course. I wanted to make this video today to kind of talk about how the book is laid out, how you should read the book, and how you should proceed through the online modules. And then later we'll take a little bit of a look at the user interface for Revit, and I'll show you how I've configured my machine to work more efficiently. So let's go into our opening modules. And most people should be through the orientation page. I have the orientation page. It has a couple of things you need to do, and you need to be sure that you have procured the textbook, our textbook for the course is the Exploring Autodesk Revit 2024, and this brings me to a little discussion about what kind of software should you have. I think that Autodesk, if you load Autodesk now from your Autodesk Revit account, you can only get 2025, but they do go backwards to support previous versions. In our laboratory, which you're welcome to use, we have the Autodesk 2024 loaded in that classroom. So be sure you get the book because this week we are starting in the textbook. So let's go to our modules. And I think everyone's pretty much outside of the orientation phase. So let's go look at introduction. And this is a video-led project. So you will watch the videos by Robert Price, who is the author and creator of the course. You will also obtain the first floor plan that we're going to draw, which is part of Project 1. So I trust you have looked at these videos. There are some videos about the interface, and I'll talk a little bit about the interface today. Textbook tour. In case you want more, you're welcome to watch some of the videos I've put together in the past. It kind of overlaps what this one is talking about. So I will focus on just getting the club, and this is the first part of the club project. So it's tutorial 2, pages for reference. So let me jump over to the textbook at this point. Okay, so on page 237, what we're doing here is really just creating a file. So as a new student, it kind of seems like they're asking you to go do these complex things, to punch in these numbers in specific spaces. And that's exactly what you're doing. So you won't have a true product, except you will have a template, which no one can really see until you start using it. So this whole part is the base for the project. And then to understand what that file is all about, you would look in the templates, you would look at the preceding chapter 2, which kind of shows you all about file maintenance and creating a new template. And I will open up a new template for you. And the shows you how to set the project unit. So you're basically covering in this little project about the first 5 pages of the book. Now, be cautioned that the book does try to tell you too many things at once for the new user. It's intended to be comprehensive, to cover everything, but when you're starting out, it's a little confusing. So let's go take a look at the book as far as the club project. Our first modeling assignment from chapter 3 in the textbook, we are going to be making exterior walls. And the first 5 pages is very helpful in the textbook on chapter 3, and it'll show you some of the key dialogue that we're going to spend most of our time in this architectural. We're going to choose wall, and there's many choices, but we're really sticking to the basic one. And then we're going to complete the club assignment. So when you open up a wall, you get many choices, although one can always imagine there's even more multitude of choices available. Some of these things do not mean anything to you yet, but when you take building materials, you'll see how these kinds of walls are constructed, which is basically an assembly. Okay, I'm meeting you down somewhere between pages 3-40 where the figure is. It looks like the ebook isn't really great about telling me what page I'm on, so I'm going to go by the figures to navigate. But the module does have pages existing in the book. So here's what we're going to complete. We created that file, that last file that we were just talking about, and it's going to be the same file that we'll use for the club project throughout the book. The book carries the club project for many chapters. And then, so as you read the chapter, learn the function, you might be a chapter on doors, then you will plug in the doors and you'll keep dragging the club project to its final conclusion. And here we are in the second tutorial for it. And you're going to be creating the exterior wall face with the directions. So you have to dust off those reading skills. You're going to have to read and stare at the pictures to make sure to match these dimensions. Now, if you haven't heard before in any of the videos that have been brought to your attention, draft in a clockwise manner, and normally you start at this end, which if you think about it in Cartesian coordinate system, you'd probably start down here, right, and move clockwise to create it. We move clockwise so that we can keep the exterior face of the wall facing in the correct directions. And you'll know this if you make a mistake. You can easily correct it, but it's best to start off right from the get-go. The book takes you through the process of finding the correct wall that you're going to use, how to select it, and unfortunately for you, but maybe fortunately for your practice, uh, everything here is starting off at a 45-degree angle. I'm not sure why they made it so difficult for the beginner, but you can handle it. All you have to do is watch your little dial that it says 45 degrees, and you're going to complete this object to create the perimeter wall. Then there's a more of a arc that is placed in here, and they tell you to really anchor onto the tip and make this arc. It takes a few tries, but have confidence that you can get this one. And then when you go into 3D, you start to see things more apparent. Okay, so just for your benefit, I'm going to show you where this project jumps to next. So we're going to follow the club through its race through the chapters. And here we are for tutorial number 4. And as you can imagine, we're going to be including the interior walls, which is another wall type. But there's also a way where its measurements are a little bit different and how it's measured from the base of wall. And it's showing you, and if you've seen in the videos, it's really about placing the walls into the project first. Just kind of load them up in there, and then you come back through, organize, and measure to the measured sizes that you need. And there's a few hints. Once you get them all in there, you can align them up. And then let's jump to the next place where we see. In exercise 3, around page 3-89 is club interior walls. And this time it's working with the right half of that and how you can copy and paste to make things work. And then suddenly I see you at 4:35, which is tutorial number 2. So it jumps between exercise and tutorial. And we can see this time we're going to be adding doors and windows to the club project. So the whole trick to this is really you want to watch Robert's video on the actual project one that he leads you into, and it'll make much more sense. That way you'll have the first moves with that video-led instruction. So when you come back to reading material and the Revit textbook, this will make more sense to you than painfully reading each line and trying to understand what is being talked about. So watch Robert's videos first for project one, and then this will make more sense to you. The key really is keeping up with your reading so that you can apply the technique. Now, most students were moving on a fast track, so you want to get into the technique, but then you have to backfill with the reading. So don't skimp on the reading. This will make much more sense to you. Well, hello again. I'm meeting you back here in assignment in the module. This is assignment club 2 and a couple of things you should know about the club. I have put down the assignments you need, the things you need to pick up, a Revit start sheet with a template if you need it. There is a video that goes through this, but it's not doesn't have a voice to it, but you can just kind of see from the pictures what's happening and what buttons are being pushed, so that's very helpful. And then how to print to a PDF, uh, that's also covered in case printing to a PDF is new to you. That is shown in this video. And FYI for your information, here's the goal, and this is what we work so hard on the club to get all this information on just a little bit at a time. And this time you're making your walls, interior walls, doors and windows for this week and maybe a little bit over into the next week. So I will end this video with this. So I'll see you in the next video. We'll talk a little bit more about the user interface.